From NJ.com and the Star Ledger, welcome to the Rutgers Rant, your one-stop podcast for the Scarlet Knights, with your hosts Steve Politi and Rutgers insiders Brian Fonseca and Pat Lanni. Let's start chopping.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Rutgers Rant. We're all here. Big game, Norfolk State. We're going to talk about that, talk about Michael Vick, talk about the players we want to see in that game. But first, we have some breaking news in the podcast. Pat, we've decided we have to fire you. Sorry, very sorry. Ouch. You're not leaving us. We're getting rid of you. That's what it's going to be. No, Pat, you're leaving us. I can't believe this is true. It's true. Well, I'll let you break your own news. Tell the audience what's happening here, because people clearly are not going to like this. Even though they're mad at you, they're not going to like this.
Listen, the people at our company have decided that there's a new team forming, and they thought that I'd be a good fit for this team. And I agree. I think it's a great role. I don't really want to dive into it too much, but I will say this. I've loved the last 3 years covering this team, being around my alma mater. It was great to be back on the banks and meeting and seeing all you guys, and obviously working with Brian and yourself, Politi, was a tremendous opportunity. I loved it. Loved our road trips. We had a great time, and I thought this podcast was just something I looked forward to every week, and I'm certainly going to miss it. I'll miss all the jokes and the Shianoisms and breaking balls. Like I don't think I'm going to get that in my new role, so I will miss you guys, and I want to say thank you to all the fans and everyone who listened. I think we have a question in here about like the best moments of people recognizing us in the parking lot, so I'll save that story for later. But it was always great shaking your hands and being a part of this. It was special.
We'll miss you, Pat. We'll miss the road trips. So many stories that we'll tell, 10, 15 years from now in an NJM reunion that I certainly don't want to tell on the podcast. It's been great to have you on the pod, and we'll definitely miss you. But I have no doubt that at some point in the near future, we'll see you around Rutgers for something. Who knows what, but for something.
That's right. That's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Let's be clear. You're not leaving sports, and you're going to be around. You're not leaving the company. You're not leaving New Jersey. You're still going to be at games, I bet. I don't even know what we're doing here. You're not going anywhere. I'm pissed off about this. No, leaving our team. Like, there's a better team than this. I've been on this team.
This guy's not just bitter Politi.
I'm bitter. Politi's back. I'm never allowed. No one tells me about other teams. What the hell is that? You get the memo about other teams, Brian?
No, I did not. But you know what? I think in 2 or 3 weeks, Pat's just going to pop up on an episode of the podcast like Costanza when he got fired and he just kept showing up for work. Pat didn't get fired, but he'll just keep showing up to the podcast, and we'll pretend this whole spiel never happened.
The thing that Pat's not saying is his new job's going to require him to work for a living. So he's going to be like, let me go on the podcast and pretend I know what Norfolk State does. That's going to be what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. You sure you don't need me to break down Iowa's defense? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that we don't sit down and study the opposing team for 2 hours in a meeting before every podcast?
You just said before I don't know anything about Norfolk State. I don't know what we're going to talk about here. That's the first thing you said to me when we logged on.
I am cutting this out of the recording.
You are not cutting this out.
Don't cut it out.
This is true. Do we cut things out too? It's something else I've learned. Oh man. Well, Pat, anyway, look, I can't tell you how much we're going to miss you. I think you are really the, what's the right word I'm looking for here? The soul of this show. I mean, Brian and I can be some, soulless, wicked assholes sometimes, but you seem to have, I don't know where the show is going to go when it's just the two of us and the basketball teams like 3-15 in the Big Ten. God help us all. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say about that. Man. All right. I mean, we'll I know why.
You guys have some great ideas. I think you're going to do great. The podcast will live on in infamy without me. And listen, I'm always happy to come back on. Like Brian said, I already have a ticket to the Rutgers Oregon homecoming game, so I will be there storming the field when Rutgers upsets the Ducks. How about that? And you could live stream me from the field.
You're dead to us. Sorry.
We talked about guest pickers. We'll just make Pat the guest picker every week. Right. Like you said, when they upset someone, we'll do the live interview on the field. Let's pick a random fan. There's Patrick Lanni.
I've already reached out to the first potential guest picker, by the way. I'm not going to say anything because this person has not said yes. So, but yeah, you're going to be replaced. Don't you worry. This podcast will persevere. When we killed off Sarge, Dunleavy, Cratch. What's one more corpse out there? What happened to those guys, huh? Oh, they've got better.
I guess they're
jobs.
doing real journalism,
Yeah.
but what are you going to do?
Exactly. Oh boy. All right. Should we talk Norfolk State? Let's do it. Not that I feel like a big downer after that big news, but we have a football game this week, fellas. Norfolk State. I guess we've seen this team before. We've seen this game before. We kind of know how this game's going to go. I want to start with this idea here. In 2025, should we be playing these games? I guess we're getting to the point now where college football is becoming professional football. We're paying, everyone in the Big Ten's at least got a $20 million roster. It's probably more than the budget of, I know it's more than the budget of Norfolk State's athletic department. I saw this quote from the NCAA coach. I don't even know who they lost. I think UCF. And they asked him like, well, was it worth it? Did you get something out of this? And he says, honestly, for our team, it's not worth it. And the guy lost like 69-3, 3 quarterbacks got hurt. I just wonder like if we're at the point now where we can get rid of these games and just play like a better schedule for all parties involved. Your thoughts, Brian? You disagree with this?
I do and I don't. I think Michael Vick was also not as blunt, but he was asked yesterday at his presser, like, what do you have the chance to go up there and shock the world? And he really kind of pulled back and was like, all right, he didn't say this, but in so many words, he's essentially like, let's not put the cart before the horse here. No one gets anything out of this, right? Like Rutgers and Power 5 teams get out a bye week essentially and a glorified practice session because in an ideal world, you're up 49-0 at the half and you could throw out AJ Surace in the third and fourth quarter and other backups and test them out in game action. And the big thing that Rutgers gets out of this compared to a Miami of Ohio or Ohio, for example, is something that Greg's talked about in the past. Rutgers is paying $425,000 to get Norfolk State in the building. Rutgers paid $1.1 million each to those two MAC teams. So financially, it's a lot more feasible, especially at a time now where you're paying for everything from student athlete, salaries to trying to rebuild buildings and all those things. The only way this will change, in my opinion, it's already changing in the SEC because their annual, week 11 bye week against an FCS team before rivalry week is going to go away now that they're bumping up to 9 conference games. The only way this goes away in the Big Ten and around the country is if the governing bodies make it so that you can't schedule these games, where you have a Big Ten SEC challenge, Big 12 ACC. You have to schedule these big boys as part of your schedule because right now teams are incentivized to play these games so that they don't lose a game against a group of 5 team. You're not Florida losing to USF and tanking your playoff chances. There's no shot in the world Norfolk State is beating Rutgers. That's just the reality. So that's why these games are scheduled. As a fan, as a media member, as anyone outside of the football programs, these games are no fun. It's a waste of a week, really. For the team, it makes total sense to schedule them.
I'm gonna be frank with this. These games need to be eliminated. There's no good that comes out of it. One team is beat up to all hell. They're doing it at the mercy of a bigger organization that can pump funds into their program, like you mentioned. It just needs to go. It's outdated. We need to be doing things to grow the sport, and this doesn't do that at all. It's a detriment, in my opinion, and you feel bad for these kids on the field losing 70-0, in my opinion. Like the kids from Grambling State that played Ohio State last week. What's the point of that? It's sad. It really is sad, and it needs to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not worth. I come back to this too. It's not worth it. The home team doesn't get anything out of it. I don't think. I remember a couple of years ago, I don't know how long ago, but one of Chris Ash's teams beat one of these, I think Morgan State, 65-0. And you're like, oh, well, maybe they're better when you think. No, they still went 4-8. There's where's the value on that side? And then there's some dilemmas that come up too. And I think about this one when Greg Schiano played Norfolk State in 2007. It was nearly a shitstorm for him. He scored 42 points in the second quarter. And I remember sitting up there going like, why are they running up? Like they're throwing to the end zone. They're already up big. They're embarrassing this team from an HBU. It was just a bad look. I get it. And his answer was, you can't run up the score in the first half. I understand that philosophy. I get it, but it just reflected. No one looked good in the whole thing. I guess you come up feeling kind of like icky about it. I don't know. Is the potential for something like that this time, Brian? Is Norfolk State that bad? Are they okay? Do we have any sense at all what kind of where they are right now in Michael Vick's first year?
I'm not going to pretend that I watched the tape of the two games, but if you look at the scores, they lost 27-7 to Towson, right? I don't think they're exactly an FCS powerhouse. And then they needed overtime and to overcome a 13-point fourth quarter deficit to beat Division II Virginia State last week. Like that is not a good sign. So yes, I think, and look, it's not because of Michael Vick. This program has not been good historically. I don't have the exact stats. They've won one MEAC title, and I think it was revoked because of an NCAA violation, like the Louisville basketball situation. Not the exact situation. My point is, like, they won a title, it got taken out. So yes, I think this has the potential, especially the way Rutgers plays offensively, that if they wanted to, they could put up, I'm going to write in the headline of our picks post, it's not about whether Rutgers will win, it's by how many. If they want to win by 65, they can. If they wanted to win by 100, if they really, really wanted to, I think they could.
Wow. Yeah. Not a great situation. For Michael Vick, though, that's kind of an interesting side. Like, these games very rarely have like an interesting side storyline. Michael Vick has been to Piscataway before, as fans of a certain generation remember. Greg Schiano called it a historical performance. Is that correct? I mean, Brian, you wrote about it. What did he do in that game again? The numbers were pretty ridiculous.
Right. So Greg was asked about Michael Vick in general because he coordinated against him twice when he was at Miami. And he said that a lot of people call him a generational quarterback. He called him a historical quarterback, which I take to mean better than generational. So I talked to Terry Shea and Mike McMahon, who were the head coach of Rutgers and the quarterback when Michael Vick was there in 1999. Right. Mike McMahon said it was like Randall Cunningham throwing the ball and Barry Sanders running the ball, which I can't imagine a bigger compliment. They sounds like a Madden player.
Good quote. Get him back in there. Yeah, it's a good quote.
Toggled up to 99, right? Like it seems, but you look at the numbers, he was 11 of 12. So he only played the first half. He played 8 drives. They scored 7 touchdowns. The first play of the game, he throws a 74-yard bomb for a touchdown. He went 11 of 12, which is 91.6%, the highest completion percentage in the history of the Big East, surpassing Ray Lucas of all people, beating a Rutgers record. He had 4 passing touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown. He did whatever he wanted. And then he sat in the second half. And then in the postgame presser, there's no video of this. I read it in the New York Times recap of this, but they read the stats back to Frank Beamer and he goes, "Can you read those back again?" Like he was himself shocked at what he just saw. The only shame I have in this is that for the life of me, I could not find a video replay of this game. They have every game from that 1999 season where they went to the Natty available on YouTube. I cannot find that one game. If anyone has it out there in the Rutgers Rant universe, please send it to me because I am dying. It's like urban legend reading about this game and not being able to watch it is just killing me.
I want to watch it to see how, Pat, I want to see how wide open some of the receivers were. I do too. Like it's not just, this is obviously was not a good Rutgers team he was playing.
No, absolutely not. But it to Brian's point, this was a guy who did run like Barry Sanders, right? Like he was so elusive, even in the NFL, generational runner, probably the greatest scrambling quarterback of all time. And as Greg Schiano said too, it wasn't just that he could run the ball really well. I mean, he could flick his wrist, throw the ball 50 yards is what Schiano said. And he's absolutely right. Like he was truly, no players ever had that combination, I think, since Michael Vick. Just growing up watching that guy everyone wanted to be like Michael Vick throwing the ball around in the backyard. So it's pretty sensational player, no doubt about it.
How's Terry Shea doing? That's a question I've got.
I mean, he's doing great. He seemed to be in good spirits. He was pretty honest about it. I asked him about the game. He said he lit us up. I mean, it was just good mood, good talker. He's like retired now, sitting at home in Kansas City, still breaking down tape for one of his former players, which I think is just a great nugget. The guy loves football so much. He's watching NFL games back just to kind of sort of like a GA. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but sort of a GA for one of his former players. Terry Shea was a head coach in, what was it, the Alliance of American Football?
I've never heard of that league, but yes, for Virginia Beach, for Virginia Armada, right? Is that what the name of the team was?
And to show how healthy that league was, Terry Shea had to pay for hotel rooms out of his own pocket for his players for some reason. I mean, the details are scarce, but my first question is, why is Terry Shea coaching in this, third tier football league in 2022 when he's like in his 80s? What does he have left to? Does the guy love football that much?
I'm looking at his resume now on Wikipedia. He goes from Rutgers. Okay, didn't work out, but then he's the Chiefs quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator for the Bears, back to the Chiefs, Dolphins, Rams. Then there's a 3-year gap. And then it's Virginia Destroyers, Boston Brawlers, Brooklyn Bolts, the Aviators. I don't know where they are. And then he finished his career with the Virginia Armada, where he had to pay. Yeah, the team got evicted from their hotel, and Terry Shea's dropping down the visa to pay for the rooms. It's just amazing. I wish I had known at the time. I would have loved to have written that column. I wonder how that happened. That is just some great stuff.
My first thought reading that tweet was Terry Shea had a nice little nest egg. That's a lot of money that's a lot of hotel rooms, right? Unless they like triple or quadruple bunk. Like that's not a cheap night.
It can't be. Yeah, absolutely. Wild.
Needless to say, the Virginia Aviators are no longer a thing.
Yes, and Terry Shea's enjoying his retirement. He's in Kansas City again. He went to move back. He should have stayed in Virginia. That'd be a better place to retire. But good for him. And he was, and again, everyone agrees, very nice man. Just the wrong fit for a very difficult job at Rutgers, no question. Not the only person in history to have that problem. But yeah, there you go, Terry Shea. All right.
It was Major League Football, by the way. And let me just pull up a screenshot of the tweet so everyone knows we're not making this up. It is incredible. This is the tweet from 2022. Hey, it's amazing. I mean, some people have some fascinating lives they live. I think Terry Shea
great.
lived a fascinating life.
You have another good thing to put on the screen that we haven't talked about yet.
I do. Before we move on from Michael Vick,
yeah.
He has another connection to this Rutgers game because 7 years ago and 5 months, one Ethan Kaliakmanis was on a visit to Virginia Tech. He considered them out of high school, and while he was on campus in Blacksburg, look at who he bumped into and took a photo with.
Right there, you go. Michael Vick looks, that's a young Ethan Cali. Look at him. He's got a big smile on his face. Hat. If you can't see the photo, big smile on his face, hat backwards, and Michael Vick looking like he could go out and throw 11 for 12 against the Rutgers defense in this picture alone. So yeah, that's good. That's some good stuff.
Ethan said it was extremely cool to play against Vick. He, really liked watching him play growing up, as Pat said, a lot of kids did. And Michael Vick, they asked him about playing at Rutgers. Him and the reporter had a bit of a confusion on the timeline of when Greg Schiano was there. Mm-hmm. But he did say that when he played at Rutgers, all hell broke loose. But on Saturday, he's not going to be the one with the ball in his hands. And if we're being honest, that's the only way that Norfolk State stood a 1% chance in this game.
Be wild. Pat, would Norfolk State have a better chance with a 50-year-old Michael Vick, or however old he is now? What do you think? Could you see him out there?
Yeah, I absolutely could. Looks tremendous. I think he's still in great shape. That's really good. It would be fun. I would put my money on that. Honestly, I really would.
Be fun, entertaining.
He's 45, and there's a video of him at Norfolk State throwing like a football at like one of these practice nets, and he just nails it immediately. The rifle's still there.
That's great. All right. He's not playing, though, unfortunately. But who is playing? Let's talk about this really quick. Obviously, we are going to see the first team offense for a while. We're going to watch them put up some pinball machine numbers, I assume, against Norfolk State's defense. I don't know if it's going to be a half. And my guess is probably a half and drive in the second half without knowing what the score is. And then we're going to see some young guys. I'm curious who you guys are most interested in seeing out there for the Scarlet Knights.
In an ideal world, it's Rutgers does to Norfolk State what Michael Vick did to Rutgers, in the sense that Ethan Kaliakmanis has a great first half, runs up the numbers, sits the entire second half, and does not play a snap more than he has to. I mean, the obvious answer is AJ Surace, but not to just kind of go into that. That's a little too easy. I'll say any of the young wide receivers, Vernon Allen, Michael Thomas, any of these guys that we haven't really seen much of because they're not going to play it all this year, right? If all keeps going the way it is between the top three guys, just give us a little flash of where they're at right now. They played really well in the spring game. This is probably a similar level of, maybe not similar level of competition, but similar scenario, low pressure. I just like to see them kind of go out there, especially with AJ Surace throwing. And if AJ Surace does go in, I would like to see him in at least one series with the first team offense, just to get a real clear picture of where he's at, because obviously things are a little different when you play with the second string.
Yeah, especially the first team line. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That would be good to see. Pat, you got any names you want to see?
Yeah, I got two guys, two Jersey guys that were highly big recruits coming out of high school from New Jersey. One is DJ McClary, the linebacker from Snyder at Jersey City. I think he was one of the headliners of this class coming in. seen some good things from him. And the other one is Kamar Archie, who is coming out of Hun, another physical linebacker. And I think what you want to see from those guys is just that they're ready physically, not ready physically, but that it's not overwhelming for them.
Right.
That they could be in there and moving around and look the part, because physically they looked the part as freshmen in high school. Now they're here at Rutgers, and they certainly looked the part. So those are two guys to keep on the radar of the defense: DJ McClary and Kamar Archie, two linebackers.
All right, I'm gonna throw one name out, and I don't know if he's ready, but I would love to see Sam Brown against a guy we've seen before. I don't know if we're going to see him, but if we're going to see him at some point this year, and the idea maybe you could, preserve a red shirt there with him if he's not quite ready. I mean, obviously we know what he is capable of, or what he was at one point, and this is a deep Rutgers running back room. They do not need him to play at this point. That doesn't mean, certainly he's got a lot of potential as a guy who could be really, really good. I would love to see him back out there just to know he's healthy. That's one name I want to say. This is a question I'll throw out to you too. Is it possible that a young player could show something in this game defensively and move into part of the rotation? In other words, if this defense continues to struggle, are there guys out there that are possible options at linebacker or in the secondary that we might not be on our radar as much now?
In an ideal world, yes. I don't think so. One, because I think they have so many veteran guys on the defense. A lot of guys they brought in that, look, let's face it, I don't know how much, if at all, this is part of the process, but they paid these guys a lot of money to come in to have them get replaced by, a sophomore that's been in the program for a bit. That would be an admission of, bad scouting or whatever. And I don't think that's necessary. I honestly do think that those that are playing are the best players available. And I don't think, at least as far as I can tell, there's anyone that's nipping at any of their ankles as far as the young guys, right? Maybe at safety, there's a couple of promising guys that have been banged up and haven't played the last couple of games. But even so, I mean, Jet Elad and Kosh Sanders have played practically every snap. Linebackers have played practically every snap. The answer, I guess, to your question is no, not in my view.
Pat, you agree with that?
I do. I think I'm going to check with Brian, because as I have not been studying as well with my new role coming up. So
as you've checked out already.
let me throw this name at you. DK Gilly, I thought was going to be a promising guy in the secondary. Is he in the mix at all?
So he's out for the year. He had a season-ending injury in the spring.
That's right.
So,
but he was before that, like in the mix. So that's why it was probably on the forefront of my mind. So DK Gilly.
He was going to play a role if he didn't get hurt.
Gotcha,
so you're absolutely right.
Gotcha.
All right, that's a good transition to more injuries. Greg Shano gave or tried to give some update on Dante Chin. It's certainly, reading between the lines here, some Shianoisms. I don't think you're going to see him again this season, or certainly not for a while. Any other injuries? Any other personnel updates? We know what that does to the line. We talked about it earlier in the week, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if Dante Chin plays again this season. I think the question only really left, based on what Greg Schiano said and what we saw in the game on Saturday, is like, is there any shot he comes back way at the end of the year, or is it season ending? And we'll find that out probably Saturday. It did not look good. So when he can't go on Saturday, again, it would be a miracle if he played this Saturday. His replacement will be Tyler Needham, who was the third part of a 3-part rotation. They had the tackle spots. They were actively running before Chin got hurt. So he'll be the starting left tackle, I imagine. Taj White at right. Yeah. And then you have a couple of other transfers from lower levels. Mashoud Giwa from LIU, who they believe he has a couple years of eligibility left, has a chance of being really good in a year or two. And then Justin Cesare, who was a transfer from New Haven. He's been working at right tackle. I imagine he could work at left tackle after doing so for last year at New Haven. So unproven guys, I guess, is the thing. I think you feel pretty good about Tyler Needham. You have a good chance of those guys being serviceable, but you don't know until you put them in a game. Obviously, not ideal when you're already down one transfer offensive tackle. Now, if you lose Dante Chin long-term, you're down 2 guys at left tackle, a position that we entered the season thinking pivotal place where we have no idea how things are going to shake out. That's a rough spot entering Big Ten play.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Predictions brought to you by the Heldrich. Pat, you're gonna leave right now. You're gonna leave undefeated on this year. We're to set the line at 44.5. So As Brian pointed out in the picks for us earlier, that is the combined score of the last 4 meetings, the aggregate score. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Average margin of victory.
Average margin of victory. Since the line is not yet out and Vegas won't do that until closer to the game. I think that's the right number.
That's good. That's good. That's a great line. Great. Yeah. See, Brian's he just gets it, man. He knows that the FCS spreads won't come out until an hour or two before kickoff. He's already got the average margin of victory lined up for us here. The guy's an animal. I might miss that the most. I might miss that kind of like level of like discipline. I love it. I love it. I miss it. The line is great. I'll keep this simple for you guys. I think I see Rutgers scoring a lot in this game, and I see it going into the 50s, maybe the 60s. So I think Rutgers will cover. I'm going to say 55-7.
All right, that's a good pick. I can't remember what I said. I think I got him in the 60s, maybe like 61-14. Just enough. Norfolk State's going to do just enough that people are going to be like, "Oh, this defense." Just so we have something to complain about before the Iowa game next week. But yeah, I think 44.5. That's a safe bet. And based on what I've seen from these games, even when Rutgers has been bad, again, it's not like, they've had bad teams and they've still put up a lot of points in these games. I get it. It's unpredictable. Every game has a life of itself, as Greg Shannon will tell us at some point during the post game. But I think this game was going to be one of those easy walks. So Rutgers gets into the 60s. Brian, you with us, against us?
What's the final score?
I like 61-14. I said they're covering. Right. Is that a cover? Hang on. Let me do the math to make sure. 61.
47.
Okay, good. Got it. Thank you.
This is going to be a game where Rutgers determines essentially how much they want to win by. I think the offense can score, again, as I said, 100 points if they really wanted to. I think they'll eventually take their foot off the gas. The question to me is, will this be the first shutout Rutgers pitches since Morgan State 65-0 in 2017? I think there's a good chance. I think the defense is going to want to. This is their best chance to have a bounce back game and show some life, right? Certainly I could see them getting scored on, but the way they played the first 2 weeks, I think they're just so much more talented, athletic, and better that they can hold a shutout. So the only question to me is, one, will they cover the spread? And 2, the over-under that we set, again, we're making these numbers up because Vegas hasn't released their lines yet. We set it at 52.5. I had predicted when I wrote it yesterday that they would win 52-0, but in talking to you guys, I feel like they're going to hit the over themselves. I'll go Rutgers 59, Norfolk State 0.
Wow, there you go. All right, so we're all bullish on Rutgers this week. We all went 1-0 last week with Miami picking against them in the spread. So let's see if no one will. Not that it matters to you, Pat. You'll be out. This would be very interesting because you're going to finish. If it happens, you'll be 3-0 against the spread, and then we're going to bring in some guest pickers to continue this if we can pull that off, assuming that anybody would want to come on the show. And if you want to come on the show, submit an application on X or in the Discord and explain why you should be a guest picker. But yeah, that's going to be so. You're going to see if they can continue what you've started here.
Oh, listen, I thought I was told that we agreed that I was going to continue picking in the post itself. So I want to finish out the year and try to take your title from you because I'm feeling good this year.
Okay. All right, fair enough. We'll let you do that, I guess. We'll leave the podcast pick will be a separate thing. That's fair, right, Fonseca? You agree?
Totally fair. And before I forget, the picks are sponsored by the Heldrick, and I want to shout out a member of our Discord, Jourdain23, who booked a spot at the Discord for a game at the Discord. A room at the Heldrick for one of the games this season. Thank you for supporting our sponsor. And the Heldrick, the #1 hotel in downtown New Brunswick. Everyone should join our friend Jourdain.
That's beautiful. That's great. See, we've sold at least one room. Totally worth the sponsorship. At least one room. Could be more than that. All right, Pat, you got to tell us a good story about you interacting with fans, because that was a question that Max had on the Discord. For any of you guys, my good stories or give me any good stories of your best and worst real life interaction with fans who recognize you. Got one?
Yeah, it just happened 2 weeks ago for the opener. So I think this is one of the better ones. So I think it's great. I drove Politi down to Rutgers. We live pretty close to each other. I won't dox him like he does to me. That said, I will. We get out of the car, and there's a fan, and he goes, "Are you Steve Politi?" And he's so glowing. He's so happy to meet Steve Politi. Yeah. He's a very successful judge and attorney, or former attorney. And then he goes, "Wait a second, is that Pat Lanni?"
Yeah, before I could even say like, "Why, yes, and he's already turned. I'm like, oh, okay, I see where this is going.
It was the first time in my life that I big shotted Steve Politi, and it was so fulfilling to say, like, wow, I'm more famous than this
you
bald bastard.
Or it's like we like to say with Keith Norton, our announcer. Are you Pat Lanni? I'm gonna miss that the most. Yeah, it was great though. He did. He came right up to you, got a hug, photo. Yeah,
and there was a small real world connection where one of my good friends from growing up is his law clerk. So that's the reason why he knew me more than or wanted to meet me more than Politi. We have mutual friends and things like that. So it was great. Shout out to him. He was a special guy, and his son, of course.
You never. Now you're going to be in the crowd. Now you're going to be just one of them, one of the unwashed masses in the crowd, getting that. What happened to you? Why'd you leave? And you should like hint at this. It'd be great. This will be like a good conspiracy theory. What's the real reason why you left the podcast? It'd be good. Like you should like fuel it. Like I can't tell you the real reason. It'd be a lot of fun. See if you can get a conspiracy theory going. Message board fodder. Just tell something new every time. You know. It was Fonseca. He couldn't take it. He couldn't take He couldn't take the attention I was getting. It'd be great. Politi. He's just a terrible guy. He just wouldn't have it.
I hate them all. Regardless of everything I said on the podcast, I hate these guys so much. My life was miserable. We went to Minneapolis, and Fonseca didn't know Mary Tyler Moore. I had to go.
Just get tired of the abuse.
These guys are just sickos. They don't care about anything else but Rutgers basketball.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I just couldn't talk basketball anymore. Fonseca kept bringing it up. He just wouldn't. It was just too much basketball in that podcast. Telling you starting your own.
It was just too many Italians. I was outnumbered 2-1. I had to fix the Western European balance here. And everyone assumes I'm Italian, so that makes me even more upset. So I wanted to,
including Greg Schiano. Remember that was a good story. We're in this hotel room at a media day. It's like, you're not Italian, and like it's silly. You lost credibility because you were an Italian American with Schiano.
Yes, right. I lost half a point. He still appreciates that my name ends in a vowel, but it's just not the right vowel. So it is what it is. I have no real great stories for what it's worth. I have been not accosted, but a couple of people have told me I stink, in person, which is always nice. It's one thing to get scolded on Twitter and the boards. It's always nice to hear it in person that it's real. Other than that, people have been pretty nice to us over the years. I think we could generally agree on that, and we always appreciate when people say something good or bad, as long as you don't physically threaten us. I think we all appreciate the attention.
Yeah, I'm sure I've had more dicey interactions over the years, but not in a long time. I will say that. Usually now in the old days, especially when things were going sideways with Kyle Flood, when someone said, "Hey, Politi," it was like, "Oh shit." But now it's like, "Hey, Politi." It's more like, "Okay, yeah, hey, how's it going?" So that's a good thing. Let's keep that up. I hope. Knock on wood. All right, Lanni, let's give you the last word here. What do you got? Send us off. Say goodbye to your people.
I'll just be sentimental here for 30 seconds. I'll say Rutgers wrestling. I miss you guys tremendously, but it's going to be a great year for that team. They have got Lenny Pinto, who's going to be an All-American candidate, transfer from Nebraska. I hopefully will be around as a fan of that wrestling team, because I certainly miss that a lot. I miss being a wrestling guy. So if that's going to be my set, let me write it back. That was terrible. I will miss the Rutgers wrestling. I will miss all you guys. You supported me through this whole couple of years, and I can't thank you enough. You two personally, that is, and all the fans out there. I never thought that this podcast would take off the way it did, and we had the live podcast, which was tremendous. Having some beers with the fans was like, oh, that was a wild moment. So I really enjoyed it. I'll be around. There's no question about it. I'll probably be doing some Rutgers stories over the years too. So you can't get rid of me just yet. And I just want to say thanks again.
It's going to be good getting our Rutgers knowledge funds, our wrestling knowledge on the pod now. Row trouble.
It's not going to be great. It's not going to be as technical. It's not going to be as deep. It's not going to be as good as Lanni.
Yep.
Well, listen, and when you need that arm bar specialist, you bring me in. I'm ready for it because I know all that stuff too. after covering it for 15 years.
I'm still trying to figure out if it's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I'll have to show up to a couple games and figure out what the number is. Games.
They could change it. They could change it by the next time you cover a match. So
4.
yeah,
Goody's a good big golf guy, so that would make sense for him. 4.
True.
All right, before I start crying, we'll sign off there. Thanks for listening, and 2 of us at least will be back on Monday to talk about it. See ya.